Hey guys, how's it going? So today is evacuation day for these artichokes. The day has arrived and Erin is so thrilled. They have lived a good life, but they are starting to, well, some of them look a little better than others, starting to look a little sad. They've bloomed and we've really enjoyed the blooms on these. Look at that. And while, a few of them do still have some color, most of them are bloomed out like this right here and starting to brown. We started these not this last winter, but the winter before, like in January, I think. So it was January of 2022. And then last summer, I came in here and planted them and it was late in the season. I had these extra artichoke seedlings. I didn't know what to do with them because I had run out of space everywhere else. And I thought, well, it might be kind of a fun experiment to put them in here, see if we can overwinter them in here, see if they'll even fit. They kind of force themselves to fit, kind of spilling out. And I've really loved the look of them, and they're so low maintenance. We haven't had to do a dang thing to them. There's drip that's run already in those cold frames that runs, I think, every other day. But other than that, they just have kind of done their thing. And here's this side right here. You can see this one still has some color on it. But these, especially when it's sunny, like right now, they don't look too bad because they're in the shade of the morning. Almost not though. The sun is almost above the willow. I was hoping to get out here a little earlier to get this done. It's gonna be 106 today. So we're all out like trying to hurry and get things done. As soon as I'm done with this, I'm actually gonna go water. So I'm not sure exactly what else we're gonna do today. Hopefully we can find something to do in the studio. In fact, we might take one of my winter sowing jugs that I still haven't planted. There's some of that blue grama grass, the blonde ambition. And I might separate those and repot them in the air conditioning this afternoon. And I'm guessing that these are pretty rooted in at this point. I'm not sure exactly, but what I think I'm gonna do is come in and cut the tops off so that I can get in here and access the bottoms a little bit easier. And then I brought a rope out with me. I think I'm gonna tie around the bottom and we'll see what these gators are made of. See if I can pull them out with a rope attached to the gator. I don't know, that might be a bad idea. Or it might work out really well. We'll see. I think if we get them out now though, right after this heat wave is over, I've got enough time to seed some flowers, like a shorter variety of zinnia or something like that, so that we've got some beautiful flowers peeking out of the cold frames this fall. First thing that we need to do is open these lids all the way. Ooh, first thing we actually need to do is close those windows. They won't open all the way if those windows are open. So they just kind of lay there. I wouldn't leave them like that. I wouldn't trust it. But to clean out, we can have them open like that. Should be a pretty quick job, I'm guessing. Okay, let's lop all the tops off first. Okay, I've got my saw and my loppers. I'm not sure which ones I'm gonna use. I think I'm gonna start with the saw. These cats, they are so weird when they're fighting. Oh my, look at the bottom of that one. What the heck? All right, side number one is done. Look at that. I rinsed down the windows, gave them just a quick brush down with a towel. So we're really ready to go. I mean, I'll probably add in some land and seed compost right before we plant our new batch of seeds in there, but you can see our drip system. There are 3 rows of the 1/2-inch drip tubing with the holes. I think the emitter holes are every 12 inches on this one, yeah. And that worked really well for the artichokes. We never had to supplement water for them. What are you doing in there, Douglas? All right, let's get side number 2 done. It kind of looks unburdened to have those gone, like the Hartley's been unburdened. I don't know. I will kind of miss them a bit though. This is not an artichoke, it's a weed. Oh my gosh, you guys, they look so empty. But clean and fresh, and I was ready for a change. You know, when you get something in your garden that you don't want to look at, and I didn't want to look at these in the afternoon or evening because it just looked so bad in that harsh sun, it's time to get rid of stuff like that, you know, when it gets to that point. And artichokes are so easy to start from seed, so if we want to do it again this winter, I have seeds left over. We could do the very same thing. And a person could wait to transplant them when it's a little cooler out if you wanted to do that, but the fact that they're so easy to start and it's so hot out, the plants would probably die being transplanted at 106. It just wasn't worth it. I did text Aaron and I just told him that the artichokes are gone. I think he might come out and see what they look like. He's been excited for this pretty much the whole time they've been in here.
Oh, and the angels rejoice.
Here they are.
How about that?
Is this where they belong?
Yeah, in a heap. No, they were fine. It just, again, I think it's the location.
Could be.
You know, like these would be great, but you need like flowers spilling out of that.
Yeah, I'm ready for that look too.
Yeah. So what's the plan? What are you going to put in here?
Well, I was kind of thinking I would wait until after this week, after it being so hot. I was thinking maybe a short growing zinnia or something. So something that we could seed that would come up quickly, something that's, you know, cheap to put in there too, that would be pretty and could take the heat. That's the other thing. Like right now it looks lovely, but it's brutal in the afternoon right here. So even the lantana's like, oh, trying to make it in those urns. It does look fresh though, doesn't it? Even having nothing in there.
Yeah. You know, I don't think you need to have anything that's particularly, well, I mean, you just want it to.
I've got zinnias that grow about 18 inches, 18 to 20 inches, I think. I think that would be perfect.
Yeah. How do you think the drip is working in here? Is it moist?
We never had to supplementally water.
Okay.
So I think it's working really nicely. These, you guys, are on their own zone, the 2 cold frames. So we can run those separate from everything else.
I love that.
Here.
I love being able to control it. So you're not like wasting a bunch of water because you can give it just what it needs.
Yep.
And it's not tied into some other zone that you have to run for like 2 hours.
Right.
It's like, no, you can just run it for 10 minutes if that's all you need.
Exactly. And look at this mix while you're out here, Aaron. It really has recently filled in.
Yeah, that looks really good.
Isn't that pretty?
So this is the white Gara?
Stratosphere white Gara, good job, yes. And playing the blues. And they're staying fairly like tidy and in the shape that I want them to be at this point in time anyway.
And you didn't get, well, last year, didn't you have a couple that were the wrong variety? Like you had unplugged or something?
Yes, that mixed in with playing the blues.
Yeah.
I'm really pleased with everything around here. You can see my hose strung out. That's my next project. Okay, I'm gonna take a break so I can get everything watered. And then we're going to head out to the dahlia patch really quick so I can show you what's going on there, which is very little. very little activity. They're coming up, but slow. I've got to paint those last 6 T-posts. Remember when we planted them? It was so windy that day, and I was gonna paint them just to show you how we paint them. It's not a super complicated process, but it was so windy I decided to wait, and here we are, you know, however many weeks later. They're still unpainted, so we're gonna get that little project done before we go separate the grasses. I think that'll work out. Out in the cut flower garden, overlooking the dahlia patch, which doesn't look like much at this point. You can see right here, these are the ones we started from seed, and they are miles ahead of everything else. This whole row right here is completely up. The second row is almost all the way up, actually almost all of them. Even though it doesn't look like there's some activity in some spots, there actually is. When I was putting some of those tulip bulbs in the root cellar the other day, I came across a couple of packages of dahlia tubers that I picked up at the garden center, forgot about, and I thought, well, it looks like a whole bunch of dahlia tubers are not coming up or not growing, so I can just go pop them in anywhere. So I started rooting around, and I think every single hole except for one that I tried has a dahlia tuber that's growing. So even though you can't see the activity yet, we'll just get a late crop. But I do love the T-posts being black this year rather than leaving the tops white. We also ran the 2, which we may not even need. It may not even be necessary this year with how slow of a start we've got, and got kind of a late start too. Anyway, we're just going to paint these 3 sections, so 6 T-posts all together. This is what I'm using right here. It's the all surface paint and primer in satin black right here. We're just going to put a board behind it to catch our overspray. Pretty simple, but it's nice and still today, so it's a great day to get it done. Oh, that looks better. My goodness, it's amazing how such a little thing can just make such a difference. Things are looking nice out here this morning. Yesterday was 103. Everything made it through pretty nicely. It's supposed to be 109 tomorrow. Okay, let's go separate some grasses. Here's our grass right here. Still in our winter sowing water jug. Oh my goodness. It's actually quite nice here in the shade, and I think I'm gonna make a bit of a mess trying to get these apart. So I decided to do the project here. But blue grama grass, are you guys familiar? This is the variety Blonde Ambition. I'll go show you what it's going to look like. Right here. This is what it's gonna grow into. Right here at the top of the pond. It's kind of the crown jewel plant of this pond area in my mind. I just absolutely love it. You can see it grows, I wanna say, 24 inches tall. 30 inches wide or so. There are, I think, 5 of them in this space right here. The seed heads almost look like praying mantis to me, and they just move so gently in the breeze. And here's a view of it from down below. Isn't it beautiful up there? The whole goal was to make this area more natural looking, like natural mountainy kind of vibe, and that grass is just perfect. So when we got to our winter sowing project, I thought that that would be a great one to start so we could add more in this area. Especially once the stream expansion goes in, we'll have a bunch more space to add more grass in, and I think we've got a bunch of them in this container. It's gonna be interesting. I think what I'm gonna have to do, you can see I brought my hose over, I'm going to take the whole root ball out of that water jug, and I'm just gonna get it sopping wet. Hopefully that will help the roots kind of come apart gently. We'll see. I already watered it today, but I'll probably have to add some more. Okay, let's take a look. Pretty intense. It's really tight in here. But see, if you look in here, you can see individual plants. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, just 5 right just here in this little clump. Okay, so I'm gonna do my best here. We'll probably tear a little bit of the roots, which, you know, as long as we don't tear a whole bunch, we should be okay. I'll get it all separated, and then we're gonna get some little 4-inch probably containers and get them all potted up. That is chelated iron. Oh my goodness. Aaron must have spilled a little in here. Oh, there's a rock. Awesome. My goodness, look at all these plants. There's our first one. That's 5. You guys, 55 plants. And some of them are awesome. Like some of them are quite big already and have a really nice root system. And some of them are smaller, like this right here. But still good roots and they're quick growers. So yeah, we've got our work cut out for us with the repotting. The knife was super helpful. I just kind of cut it into smaller chunks and then broke it apart further from there. But oh, I am thrilled. Okay, so I've got a grass that looks kind of like this. So I've got my 4-inch container with some soil. I'm just going to make a hole in it and we'll drop the roots down in that hole. Tamp it in just like that. We'll water them all when we've got them all repotted. And there they are, all done, watered in. I'm gonna leave them right here for now in the shade. I don't wanna put them back in the greenhouse or in the full sun on a day as hot as this. And that's the one reason why I decided to pot them up instead of planting them straight out in the landscape, which you could absolutely do, and that is the goal, if you get after it soon enough. But I knew I was gonna be ripping apart their root systems, and I didn't wanna do that and then subject them to the full sun when it's, 106, 109, 110 degrees. That would probably just be a little bit too much for these plants, and it'll be much easier to manage them in this size of container. see how they do. And then we can also have them prepared and ready in October when we have the, stream expansion off the pond, and we can utilize some of these and kind of tie in some of the same interest around the whole pond stream area. And I'm not sure how it pencils out. I mean, definitely cheaper if you don't do this stuff. For the cost of 4 cups of soil and a packet of seeds, which I still have several seeds left in that packet, so we could probably do this over again like twice from that same packet. If you're just planting them straight out of the water jugs into the ground, I mean, that's an incredible savings. This, of course, you're paying for extra soil. I used 2.5, maybe not even quite 2.5 of the smaller size. I think there's 16 cubic foot bags of soil for this project. And then of course I've got the 4-inch containers already. I've had the same 4-inch containers for years, and I just keep them around. In fact, the mums were just potted up out of these into gallon-sized containers, and we were able to utilize them right away, which is great. And again, some of these are, robust looking and awesome. Some are healthy, but small. So they'll just need a little time to grow on. And I would call that a success right there. Successful experiment, I love it. And you guys, that is gonna be it for today. Happy to have the artichokes done and out. Happy to have these repotted, the posts painted, all those little things that just kind of gnaw at me, and I know they need to be done. It's nice to get those done. And all before lunchtime, which this time of year, that's what you have to do. You have to get out early, you have to get it done before it gets super, super hot. Everything on the entire property has been watered. This morning, Paul and I he did the south garden area, I did all around the house and greenhouse and all of that. We kind of tag teamed it, and then later on we kind of do the same thing. We have to go through twice a day when it's over 100. It's inevitable, even if you've got plants on drip, until they're really rooted in, it can kind of take a toll on them. And so you might have a whole drift of annuals, and you might have 1 or 2 that needs a little additional water at the end of the day. But we make our rounds because it's worth it. We want those plants to live. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.